When I buy a bag of hot Cheetos, that is a commitment. I do that knowing that I have adopted a mission. That bag will be gone and my stomach might hurt a little bit, but it is so worth it. That is Valheim for me. Valheim is one of my junk food games per se. When I come back to Valheim, I may as well be waving goodbye to my family on the docks as the boat sails away because it is time to lock in, and once I start, I just can't stop. That is until I do burn out, and I always stop at a relatively similar point. I want to pass that point. This video is about my current exploration of the beautiful world that is Valheim, and how I plan on passing that point. Before I go any further into Valheim, I just wanted to mention a couple of things real quick. If you're new here, I'm Slowco. This channel mostly focuses on survival and looting games, as those are typically my favorite, and I am currently uploading once a weekend. This Valheim series will be its own thing, but I cover all sorts of games. Soon, the Road to Vostok Early Access and Marathon Season 1. In addition to this channel, I co-run Slowbird Games with my buddy Dylan, aka Morningbird, where we cover all varieties of things and do fun series like You Should Play, a series where we cover games that we think, well, you should play. Anyways, just wanted to shout all that out. Appreciate your time. Back to Valheim. If you are unfamiliar, Valheim is an open world sandbox crafting game based on Norse mythology. When you start a new world, that world is a new seed. It is newly generated and unlike any other world made before it. You will always spawn in the meadows because that is the starting biome, and this Raven Pal will break down the world to you for the first little bit if you keep hints on. You don't know what is through the trees surrounding you. Your map is covered outside of the point you start at, and the world beyond is for you to adventure. Other biomes could be dangerously close or pretty far away, although they all do have a rough estimate of distance spawns from the starting point. It is up to you to explore that world and figure out where everything is. Depending on your goals, you could settle in the first biome and not explore too much. You just want to chop down some trees, build a basic base, and not risk everything for gold and new resources, then the meadows got you covered. But somewhere in your safe meadows, the trees become pine, a bit of a darker and more dense tone grows, and in there trolls, bears, and variations of greylings spawn. Greylings are everywhere and will more than likely be the first enemy you encounter. They are a bit of a pesky character as they will try to run around you, throw rocks at you, and every now and then smack you. They aren't hard at all to take on, but their evolved forms, Grey Dwarfs, Grey Dwarf Brutes, Grey Dwarf Shamas, can become a problem, especially in groups like they like to hang out in the Black Forest. Like I said before, there are trolls, bears, all types of greylings, and also skeletons in the Black Forest, and skeletons are often an indicator of a burial chamber being near. Burial chambers are dungeons where you can find some treasures like gold, amber, and rubies, as well as cores. Certling cores are a major find in the game as they allow you to build charcoal cans and blast furnaces to make ingots and make important progressions. Now that is where I will stop mostly breaking down the game to you because that is almost always where I stop playing. In addition to the two biomes I've mentioned, there are the mountains, plains, mistlands, ashlands, and most recently added, the deep north. I've been to the swamps in a couple of my worlds and always get into the mountains. In my current world, I have only discovered the meadows, of course, the Black Forest, and the mountains, as there is a large range almost right next to where I spawned. I am currently making it my mission to fully explore my world and get to biomes I've never reached. People, of course, have fully explored these biomes and do some really amazing things in this game. There are tons of videos online of people's crazy base builds and their deep explorations. I'm of course not one of those people and comparatively a novice. I'm gonna do my best to continue not looking up anything as I progress, and I do ask to refrain from commenting tips or suggestions as I want this experience to continue being natural as possible. I'm playing the game as vanilla as it comes, but there are a plethora of mods and setting adjustments you can make to the game if that's your vibe. This game sort of has biome locks that make it really hard to explore them, whether that is just general weapon and armor stats or specific types of resources. If you haven't put it together yet, Valheim is centrically a building and crafting game. As you find resources out in the world, you unlock recipes, which is pretty much the major key to expanding everything in the game. For instance, I have been wanting to farm in my current world as it gives you food at your base and new recipes. I crafted a till thinking that's what let me farm and quickly realized that was the wrong tool. I couldn't figure out what I had missed. I continue on my business figuring I will just stumble upon what I need. Well, it was another 5 hours of gameplay before I cut down a pine tree, a common tree in the Black Forest that I have passed probably thousands of times at this point, giving me core wood. I just hadn't cut down a pine tree in this playthrough yet and didn't realize it. The core wood unlocked a handful of recipes, one of which being the cultivator, the tool I needed to farm. So where am I all in all in this seed? Well, close to my meadow spawn is a mountain biome. I've seen a lot of black forest surrounding my area and no swamp yet. I have crafted a couple of rafts and ventured out in the water off of my main base and realized that it's practically a large lake off my shore, so I am planning on building a satellite dock to sail further out and scout some coasts. My main base isn't far from the spawn point as I found the mountain range of Black Forest quickly after leaving spawn, but I also have some satellite bases. My mindset for having so many satellite bases is they give me a shelter, a bed to set a closer spawn point if I die, and a place for chests to store resources and decide what is important to take back with me to the main base. I don't know what this would look like yet, but I think it would be really cool to connect all of these on the mainland with paths and structures like it's an established area in real life. I have a mining base a little northeast as there are multiple copper deposits there, and there are a lot of burial chambers in this area, some I still need to explore. I mark the burial chambers with this symbol on my map, put a red X on them if I have completed them. I have a base across my little lake deeper in the Black Forest area as there's a lot of tin deposits there, tin being a major resource for crafting bronze, the tier up armor and weapon type I'm working towards now. I depleted all of the tin in my neighboring Black Forest and I don't think it ever respawns. I also have a base right inside of the mountain range. In the mountain range without specific items you take damage from the freezing weather, but near a fire you can stay warm and heal. Wolves are incredibly pesky in the mountain region as they do a lot of damage to me right now, so this base helps me fight off those spawns while I try to explore. Now this brings me to one of the areas where my progression is slowed. The mountain regions I know have their own dungeons that have some pretty important resources for progression. I am currently delving slowly deeper and deeper into the mountain region to find a dungeon by being careful and making fires along the way. Once I find one, I can run back to base, gear up, and make my way there with the intention of clearing it. Another area where my progression is slowed is just finding a swamp biome. I know I just need to sail out further, which is why I mentioned I'm building a satellite dock. I would like to build the boat you can get that is better than a raft before I do this, but I'm just not sure what I am missing in resources. I think it is probably a specific type of wood since I already have discovered bronze nails, so that is on my agenda. One thing I also have not mentioned that you may or may not know about Valheim is that there are bosses for each biome. The bosses when defeated give you something that helps your progression. For instance, the Meadows boss, a crazy magical deer thing that drops antlers which allow you to make your first pickaxe. I'm about to fight the Black Forest boss, the Elder, and I can't remember what the Elder drops, but I will find out soon enough. So on my to-do list is to venture further into the mountain region, find a swamp biome, defeat the Elder, and also establish a good farming system. I had just planted a ton of carrots, but then got raided by greylings overnight. That is one major part of playing vanilla that is going to be hard. As your character's days grow, you intermittently get raided in the night by hostile creatures, and each time it gets harder. This has happened to me a few times now, and the last time it was actually quite a bit of greylings, and they destroyed my entire crop moments after planting it. I did actually think you could avoid the raid by going to sleep before it gets too late in the night, but this raid was where I had found out that doesn't work. I went to sleep and woke up to the notification, the forest is moving, which is how you know you're about to get raided. I know from other worlds I've ran, these get pretty aggravating, as eventually trolls and more enemies join, and the trolls can really do a number on your base. I've lost actual entire bases to trolls in the past. So in addition to all of my other goals, I really need to beef up my base before this happens again. I typically turn the raids off, but I didn't think about it when making this seed, which led to the idea of just trying to progress as far as I can in the vanilla game. So that's where I'm at, and where part 2 will pick up from. I'm actually pretty excited about this series because I think it'll really push me to not give up on this world. If you're about it, hell yeah, and just keep in mind, like I said before, I will be covering other games as well while I work on this world, so it won't be consecutive updates, but honestly, I might do some weekday uploads for the series as a little extra thing. Still working that out, but regardless, if you made it this far, Thank you, and feel free to support by liking and subscribing. That's all this time. I'm Slowco. Peace.